With the Omicron threat looming large, Centre has issued advisory to different states to ready their action plan in case of any contingencies. Maharashtra, Karnataka have ramped up testing, and here's more on that.
India is ramping up COVID fight. Just as daily cases in India dip to less than 10,000 a day, a brand new threat stalks the world. Omicron, a new, more infectious COVID variant with possible vaccine dodging capabilities. Amid looming threat, the centre issued an advisory to states on action plan. The letter from Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan says states must monitor hotspots, putting international flyers from at-risk nations to screening and 14-day mandatory quarantine. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal wrote to Prime Minister Modi calling for a ban on flights from countries affected by the new variant.
दिल्ली के तमाम अस्पतालों और तमाम सार्वजनिक स्थलों पर कोविड प्रोटोकॉल को पूरी तरह से पालन करने का सख्त आदेश जो है वो दिया गया है। दिल्ली के राज्यपाल अनिल बैजल की तरफ से अहम बैठक की गई, जिसमें दिल्ली के मुख्य सचिव, पुलिस आयुक्त और तमाम वरिष्ठ अधिकारी भी शामिल हुए। और इसके साथ साथ ये फैसला लिया गया कि तमाम जो सार्वजनिक स्थल हैं और बाजार हैं, उनमें कोविड नियमों का सख्ती से पालन किया जाए।
In Maharashtra, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai announced mandatory testing for select international passengers and strict penalty for violators.
जो प्रवासी आ रहे उनको, जो दक्षिण अफ्रीका हो या दूसरे देश से आते कंट्री से, तो उनको जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग का चेक करना पड़ेगा। उसके बाद जो हमारे देश में आते तो उनको क्वारंटाइन करके वो सब चेकिंग होने के बाद ही छोड़ा जाएगा।
After a brief scare over 2 people testing positive on arrival in Bengaluru, Karnataka has scaled up testing too.
All these tests we have sent to our labs, genomic sequencing labs. We are awaiting those results in another 5 to 6 days. Then I think we'll be able to tell you what kind of a strain is this. But we are definitely concerned with the new Omicron variant.
Chief Minister of Bihar and Madhya Pradesh too chaired meetings to discuss the threat of the new variant.
Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan today called a meeting at CM residence on new COVID variant. Officers informed the Chief Minister that as of now, there is not a single case of COVID new Omicron variant in Madhya Pradesh, but as a precaution, state government has taken few decisions today in this meeting held by the Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan.
Will the new variant bring back fresh lockdown and derail the road to recovery? Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, with the threat of Omicron looming large, here's a look at what exactly different states are doing in a bid to fight this. Speaking of the national capital, Delhi, there's strict adherence to COVID norms in public places. Hospitals are to be prepared to deal with emergencies. And Delhi LG, in fact, is to hold a very key meeting tomorrow on November 29 concerning this. Maharashtra, international travellers are to be governed by directions of the centre. Remember, the centre has some protocols in place. Negative RT-PCR reports or full vaccination certificates for domestic travellers are being mandated. Passengers from South Africa are to be quarantined in Mumbai, and samples of these passengers are to be sent for genomic sequencing. Karnataka, passengers from South Africa are to be screened in Bengaluru, and their samples are to be sent for genomic sequencing. Speaking of Gujarat now, mandatory RT-PCR tests at all airports in the state, and testing a must for passengers who are arriving from Europe, United Kingdom, Brazil, South Africa, China and Hong Kong. And as far as Kerala goes, mandatory RT-PCR tests for international passengers, and there's a 7-day quarantine for international passengers as well. Now, India is on high alert over the new monstrous Omicron strain threat. Prime Minister Modi chaired a crucial meeting when he asked officials to be proactive in light of the new super mutant virus. Besides the centre, several states, including Delhi, Maharashtra and Karnataka, have devised measures to combat the new threat. A new COVID variant is on the prowl. Omicron, a highly transmissible variant, is now the cause of concern worldwide.
This variant has multiple mutations in its spike protein, which is the main target of the existing vaccines. Whether vaccines need to be updated is a topic that needs further discussion. But at this time, what we need to do is to make sure that everybody has received at least 2 doses of vaccine, which will give them the maximum available protection, particularly against severe disease.
And as the new strain makes its way through several African nations, India too is gearing up to tackle the super mutant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday chaired an important meet on the COVID situation in the country amid concerns over the new variant. Prime Minister Modi, while instructing officials to be proactive in light of the new variant, also stressed on intensive containment and active surveillance, along with emphasis on intensifying second dose coverage across the country. An action plan is already in place. Samples of COVID-positive travellers who arrived in India in the last 2 weeks from at-risk countries are being sent for genome sequencing. States and union territories have been asked to conduct screening at airports. Travellers from 12 countries, including South Africa, Hong Kong and Botswana, are to be screened for the new variant. States too have readied their fight plan. The national capital has issued fresh COVID directives. Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal has asked to ensure strict adherence to COVID norms at public places. The LG will be chairing a crucial meet on Monday. Maharashtra government too has issued fresh restrictions. While international travellers shall be governed by directions of the centre, domestic travellers need to be either fully vaccinated or carry a negative RT-PCR test report valid for 72 hours. The Gujarat government has also made RT-PCR testing mandatory for international travellers. Karnataka is equipped with 6 genomic sequence labs, and samples of passengers from affected countries will be tested for the new variant.
जो प्रवासी आ रहे उनको जो दक्षिण अफ्रीका हो या दूसरे देश से आते कंट्री से, तो उनको जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग का चेक करना पड़ेगा. उसके बाद जो हमारे देश में आते तो उनको क्वारंटाइन करके वो सब चेकिंग होने के बाद ही छोड़ा जाएगा.
We'll again do the RT-PCR on their arrival in Bangalore. We'll be watching them for next 1 week. We came out with 6 genomic labs. So we are completely in a situation where we can send our samples and we can sequence. We can also find out the way how this virus is progressing, how this mutation is behaving.
The World Health Organization has warned Southeast Asian nations over the new variant and asked them to scale up screening and increase their vaccine coverage. As the holidays near, we need to be on guard against the new variant. Bureau Report, India Today.
Spreads.
Now, tracking the Omicron variant, let's give you a sense of where all this particular strain of the virus has been detected so far. South Africa is, of course, one of the first nations where it was detected. Then comes Botswana, another African nation where the strain was detected. Germany, again, a European nation where it has been detected. Hong Kong, United Kingdom, Israel also, where it has been detected. Italy, again, a European nation where it has been detected. And finally, Czech Republic. So these are some of the countries where the Omicron variant has been detected. What's in a name? A lot apparently, or else the World Health Organization would have not chosen to tread cautiously and skip 2 letters of the Greek alphabet to jump to Omicron in an apparent bid to save China from embarrassment. Here's a news report.
We are announcing B11529 as a variant of concern named Omicron.
It is called Omicron, and the name assigned by the World Health Organization has sent the internet into a tizzy. The new variant, first detected in South Africa and initially called B.1.1.529, later renamed Omicron, was not actually expected. Even before the christening by the World Health Organization that happened on late evening of November 26th, the alphabet new was already trending. The reason? New and G. Yes, Xi, that sounds exactly like the name of Chinese President Xi Jinping, are the next Greek alphabets, and these would be the names to be used for a variant. But it appears that the World Health Organization decided to skip both Nu and Xi and decided to move to Omicron to avoid embarrassment to China. As is evident, the previous alphabets starting from Alpha to Mu have been used for variants of concern and variants of interest already. Nu and Xi were the next in line. Wall Street Journal language columnist Ben Zimmer took a dig at the World Health Organization. Paul Nuki, senior editor at The Telegraph, also tweeted saying that Nu had been skipped to avoid stigmatizing the region is what he had learned from a source at the WHO, and that all pandemics are inherently political. Texas Senator Ted Cruz said if the World Health Organization is this scared of the Chinese Communist Party, how can they be trusted to call them out the next time they're trying to cover up a catastrophic global pandemic?
The nomenclature which is being used for the Nu, I think the entire role of WHO has been coming into question for a long time, and the name is just a designation, but the fact is we need to be extremely wary and careful with regards to new mutants.
India today also sought a response from the World Health Organization on why they skipped Nu and after a G and jumped to Omicron when they themselves had decided to follow strictly the Greek alphabets, and whether that has got anything to do with possible stigmatization of China that they feared. But we have not received any response so far. In New Delhi, Sneha Murdani for India Today.
The new COVID strain Omicron has already caused widespread panic, with several countries banning travel to and from South Africa. And now the lethal mutation has cast a shadow of doubt over India's tour of South Africa that's slated to begin next month. While BCCI maintains that player safety is paramount, the tour to the African nation is still on. Here's the full story.
The new COVID-19 variant detected in South Africa has started causing widespread panic. International touring teams are scrambling to get out of the African nation after countries started banning flights to counter the spread of the new variant. In fact, the Netherlands cricket team on Friday had decided to call off the tour midway, citing how their country had banned flights from South Africa earlier in the day. However, since then it has emerged that Dutch players won't be able to get a flight out of South Africa before the 3rd of December. The new variant is threatening to put South Africa's entire home summer in jeopardy. There are now question marks over India's tour next month that starts on the 17th of December. Team India is supposed to fly out to South Africa after the completion of the Test series against New Zealand, where they are slated to play 3 tests, 3 ODIs and 4 T20 internationals. Currently, the India A team is also in South Africa, where they are scheduled to play 2 more 4-day games. BCCI, though, is not ready to press the panic button yet. India today has learned that the Indian board is monitoring the situation closely, but the senior team's tour of South Africa is still on. While the BCCI is keeping a close eye on the developments, the Indian government has already issued an advisory to rigorously test and screen international travellers from South Africa and other countries that are considered at risk. The Health Ministry says the new variant could potentially have serious public health implications. It was only in September that the Indian team had refused to play the 5th test against England in Manchester following a COVID outbreak in the camp. And with players and teams across sports pulling out and tournaments being cancelled or postponed, it remains to be seen whether the Indian cricketer will agree to tour South Africa at all. Sports Bureau, India Today.
And that's a wrap on this bulletin. For all the latest news and updates, you can log on to mediatoday.in. You can also download the India Today app. Thank you for watching.